Wow. $7 shipping in the US.
Who's charging $7 shipping?
That's the hardcover edition of Rage, unsigned.
That's not bad.
Hardcover. For a hardcover.
Yeah. We're live.
All right.
All right, guys. This is Kevin, and I got Will with me. We're deciding if Will is a co-host of this show, a sidekick, a kick host, a kick-ass host. He's the only guy who is up late enough and can deal with me long enough that he's going to show up on Friday nights. So I'm saying that half of this is his fault now.
Okay, I'll take half the blame.
Yeah, someday maybe we'll get some credit. And so I had asked a couple people if they wanted to come on, and because of MegaCon in Orlando and kind of cons coming up, and unfortunately one personal emergency, which I don't know more information about, and if I did, I wouldn't go into it anyway because it's not really my business. But we're not going to do the Kickstarter part of the roundtable as much today as maybe a back and forth about conventions, because Will, you did your first one last week, correct?
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've been behind the table. So we had, which was awesome, we had a show here locally in Northwest Arkansas. So I was invited as a guest, so no table fee. 2, it's 20 minutes from my front door.
That's beautiful.
And 3, Clay and Mick were there. So it was just a pretty awesome time. I mean, we were masked out the whole weekend, and there was.
So I know Clay Adams from the Red Xmas and Deadskins. Who's Mick? I'm not sure by name.
Mick Byers, the artist and writer on He May Yet Conquer. He also did several stories in the Nightmare Theater anthology that Clay and David put together.
Nice. Okay. No, he was a nice guy. He was on the first one we ever did this. Kept stealing.
That's right.
James. Yeah. He's a James time stealer is what he is.
That's exactly right. Absolutely. Magazine size, right?
Yeah. But anyway, you're all masked up.
Yeah, it was good. There was pretty good traffic. I mean, this area really needs, not a, oh my God, giant Chicago con or San Diego con, but a decent sized regional con, I think would be I'm hoping that it got its start, because it was pretty well attended both days. I did a panel on building an indie comic from the ground up on Saturday, which was shockingly well attended. There were a lot of people there, which kind of surprised me. Excuse me. And then Clay and I did a panel on Kickstarter on Sunday, Sunday was a little bit slower than Saturday, so there weren't as many people at the con and not as many people in our panel, but we still had a good time.
I did a panel once. It was the first panel of the show. It was about Tart, and it was with Carl Moline. So I've got this big name artist, and it's the first panel, but it was the first panel of the day. And one guy and one lady, I never did figure out if they were friends, a mother and her son, co-workers, or what. They kind of wandered in and asked us why we were standing there. And we said, well, we're doing a panel on our comic, and we stood there and we showed them the comic, and they were the only ones who came in for the 20 minutes. And we said, well, you know what, I don't think anybody's coming, so we're going to go back to the thing. And they followed me to the booth, and they bought Tart. So I was like, that was a really successful panel. We awesome sold panel. To 100% of our audience.
Nice. But yeah, it was fun. I had, Tyler has a training inside Comics Launch where he talks about, con prep. So I had my con kit, with everything in it, just all ready, and sold some books, signed some books. It was actually a lot of fun. I didn't realize how much I'd missed kind of being out at a con. And that kind of is a nice segue, because speaking of cons, I think you're going to one tomorrow, aren't you?
First one for me. There's a small one. I live in a city called Plantation, and 5 miles away from us, a city, Sunrise. Probably even closer. We're maybe a mile apart from our border, but they're having a small one, and yeah, it's only $30 for the table, and like you said, 20-minute drive. So it was a no-brainer to do it. When I signed up for it, it was a no-brainer. I was vaxxed. The kid was vaxxed. It was going to be fine, and so I kind of called up and asked if I could be put outside, which, it's been 90 degrees or raining every day the last 2 months. And the lady was really nice and accommodating, but she said, if I put you outside, you're going to be outside near the band. So I was like, I'm wearing a mask and there's going to be a band. This is going to be hell in 90-degree heat, or, now a tropical storm missing us, but possibly the rain. So, but she was nice enough to move me into kind of a hallway where there's just like 4 exhibitors and people will be kind of walking through, as opposed to the one room with like 30 exhibitors. So I'll be kind of out on the side, hopefully getting people to walk by enough, but this is baby steps back to reality for me. So I'm not minding if it's not too busy.
Well, we're in the South, and COVID is just, the Delta variant's going crazy right now, right? I mean, it's insane. So I was a little leery of attending, but a good portion of the people had masks on. We wore our masks the full time. So I don't know that I'm saluting all the people that are heading out to MegaCon, because
oh yeah,
that's hardcore, man, hardcore.
Yeah, no, MegaCon I think is going to be good for the people that ended up, but they lost Scott Snyder. They lost 2 other big names wouldn't come down. So I don't know. I understand. I wouldn't travel to Florida if I didn't live in it.
I'm the same with Arkansas at this point.
I don't know. But did you feel like people were big to buy because they hadn't been able to buy for a while, or?
So it was more, I forget the name of the company that puts these on, but it's more kind of an anime celebrity type show. We had Michael Biehn was there from Terminator, and The Rock, and
The Abyss,
and all those. He's an awesome actor.
He's awesome. If you listen to him talk about The Abyss, he makes a really good point. It's a great movie until his character dies, and then it's a shitty movie.
I had not heard that.
And he's right. If you go back in, while Michael Biehn is part of that movie, it's great. When he's dead, it's not great. It's not great, Dan.
But they also had some voice actors, which was also another reason that Clay was there, because he was a voice actor on a couple of different things, a couple of different versions of Yu-Gi-Oh, I think, and a few other things. And
I remember Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I remember
the Turtles.
Yeah.
I know Yu-Gi-Oh because my boys are very nostalgic for Yu-Gi-Oh at this point. I remember when we got my first deck. So you're so old. Shut up. But we were kind of right there when people started coming in, and which was kind of cool. But I think we got a lot of looks because there weren't a lot of comics there. There were maybe 1 or 2 other creators that we walked around toward the end of it on Sunday, and said hi, and took contact info and stuff so we could keep in touch. But still, all in all, it's probably one of the most successful 2-day shows I've ever done. Just because,
hey man, you made table with your first sale.
Exactly. But I think think that a lot of, I think this area doesn't quite know what to make of it. I think when it comes back, and I hope it comes back, uh, it'll it'll start building momentum and just keep getting bigger and bigger, and probably start bringing more comic people in too, which I think would be really cool. As far as other creators.
Yeah, I would think almost anything is a 4-hour drive to get to Arkansas. Like I have to go all the way up and over, but I would think anybody in Alabama, Louisiana,
Mhm. Kansas City's 4 hours from here, north. Um, it's a good 6 hours to get to Memphis.
Yeah.
I
So
think
it's drivable. It's
yeah, it's about
drivable for a lot of people. So
6 hours to Dallas, I think. I haven't driven to Dallas in a long, long time, so I don't know that for sure. But yeah, we're kind of in the middle of flyover country, I guess is a good way to say it.
I would get up there. I would get up there just to hang out with you and Clay. So next year I'll try to make it if it doesn't conflict with anything, or if there isn't the gamma variant.
Omega variant. Well, you got hotel, man. You don't have to worry about that.
That's you're speaking my language. I just need a couch and I'm happy.
We've got multiple rooms with multiple beds, so we're all good.
All right, cool. Count me in. I'll even pay the small table fee. They don't have to give me a guest as long as I can get a free place to stay. So I'm doing that. You're doing that. You want to talk about some of the Kickstarters that we've had on? Just give some people.
Oh yeah.
If somebody's used to the Kickstarter portion, maybe we should go through and talk about the ones that are still live. I'll do the share screen thing.
Let me see it here, and I will. Let's see.
Bug Hunt.
Yeah. Let me find my screen. Where is it? There we go. Sorry.
Jeff Weber's comic Bug Hunt still has 3 days to go. He is funded $22.97 over a $2,000 goal. But here's the secret in case anybody doesn't know, your funding goal is not always your goal. Your funding goal is the thing that you can actually proceed with the project and not, drown. But I'm
Exactly.
certain he'd love to not only get a little bit more, but he's 89 backers. If we can get 11 more backers and break 100.
That would be awesome for him.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And just a solid dude, as you guys, if anybody watched like 2 weeks ago, Jeff was on with us. He's just a great guy. He was nice enough to give me like a 3D print of a tart image, which someday I'm going to get off my butt and get 3D glasses and offer to people. And that will all be Jeff Weber. Oh my gosh, it's Jeff Weber.
There he is.
Hey Jeff, I am doing a small convention in Sunrise, Florida, the Sunrise Comic-Con, instead of Free Comic Book Day. I did not know that they overlapped until 2 weeks ago, but that's good because I had made no plans with a comic shop. What about you, Will?
No, things are getting kind of crazy up here, so I decided to just kind of pull back in, and we're hanging out at the house, and I'm going to try to catch up on stuff I need to do for Crossover Division number 2 that I'm sure Brant is probably like, what are you doing on camera? Dude, you got crap to do. Work.
Charlie Stickney is going to do Free Comic Book Day. Charlie, put in the chat what shop, and Jeff, put in the chat what shop you're going to be at. Just on the very slate in case somebody's near you. So yeah, I'm sort of doing Free Comic Book Day in that I'm going to be at a convention, and my daughter just decided that she didn't need any of her My Little Pony comics. So at my table, there will be free My Little Pony comics if any young kids go by. So I'm sort of doing it. Oh, Charlie's giving me a golden apple from 2 to 4 p.m. I hear that's an amazing shop.
That's the famous and venerable golden apple. Yes, everybody's heard of golden apple. Nice. And then Jeff,
Jeff said he's going to be at Flashback Comics, which I read as Facebook Comics, and I was like, are they branching out? Is this a Substack fight?
Exactly. Nice.
So what do you think of the Substack thing?
I think it's great for super high profile creators. I hope they do really well. I'm a little bit, I don't know, I'm a little bit worried at the pricing of the premium content, because for $80 a year, how much, how big a slice of comics is that? At this point we don't know, right?
So if anybody doesn't know, Substack is basically a group is trying to create an email newsletter format where you can send out free newsletters and then get your audience to subscribe to get other content. Some comic book creators are going to release their comics digitally exclusively through them and then probably print at a later date. Now, the only one that I think that I will do, the Scott Snyder writing portion, I'm really considering, because for $80 a year to kind of pick his brain, that seems like a no-brainer to me. But to read somebody's comics that they're going to put out in a comic shop a year or two from now, I'm not sure that I'm going to jump on personally.
Yeah, and we were just talking about digital. I try to read digital, and I like the ease of having digital, ease of access to digital, versus the stacks, that are elsewhere. But I'm still a physical reader, Hey,
yeah.
It's an ad. Sorry.
I've got some of my comics here too, man.
Yeah.
So Jeff asked, is Substack similar to Patreon? I believe it really is. If you took MailChimp and Patreon and made a baby, I think that's what it is. Now, I haven't looked into it close enough to be certain of that, but that's my feeling on Substack, because you've got an email list and you could have 1,000 people on it, but 200 of them are paying for extra content. So those 200 people get,
the original comics or the Snyder classes or whatever. Right?
Or I've seen some artists saying they might do like tutorials. But the trick is Substack has gone to really high profile people and offered them extremely competitive funding to do this. So they're trying to build the interest in people coming to Substack with these big names. And like I said, a guy like Scott Snyder, he's offering writing advice. I think that's great. And I think there's a bunch of well-known writers and artists that are just like, I really, really like this paycheck. And now they're just trying to figure out what to do to make it worth the $7. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Someone said it reminded them of the NFT craze that came out about 3 months ago. With the caveat that I don't think Substack will burn the Amazon rainforest to the ground with the $7. I don't think. If I find that out, I might change it. That's all I know. But I say, if you got a big enough name to have some venture capitalist give you $50,000, I say go do it, guys. God bless you.
And Charlie says he may be at the Comics Factory in Pasadena for an hour or so before the Golden Apple stuff. Yep, there you go.
No, that's awesome. Okay. So Charlie says, Google it a bit. Sorry, I was like, Google. All right. Google Substack a bit. There are a lot of people who don't like the platform depending on where your political leanings lie. Well, venture capitalists would tell me that there might be some things about it that aren't as nice as I might hope that somebody would pay me $50,000 a year would be. But I know that they wouldn't pay me anyway. So yes, Google it, and if you don't like what they're doing, hold on to your money. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, It's not bad enough that I can't pay $7 to Scott Snyder, is it? Because that would suck. But maybe I will have to. I don't know.
I've read a little bit about it, and I don't know. I'm still gonna. I probably won't because I feel like what I've read anyway. There's some probably hate speech, mainly directed at LGBTIA stuff
Okay.
that Substack's not been very quick to quash. So I don't think I can, but I'm going to keep reading because I'm going to give them a shot, but hopefully they won't disappoint everybody.
I would guess that they're worse than you're saying.
I'm trying to be nice.
Yeah, I'll look into it, and I probably won't. I don't know. And maybe what somebody should do is convince Scott Snyder to, after a year, print that book.
Yeah,
and then we can pay a nice guy with nothing on our conscience for what he did. So maybe we'll do that. I think because people are at shows. One of the Kickstarters that I was going to talk about there at MegaCon. We showed Buckon. What were the other?
Yeah, we're going to show
we
some.
Have. We want to go over Jessamy and Capable again.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
All right, you talk. I'll find.
Okay, so Jessamy is. Are you doing Jessamy first or Capable first?
Jessamy first, since you said it.
Jessamy is a vampire book set back over a kind of a long period of time, if I remember what David said.
Colonial America.
Yeah, Colonial America. So it's got some awesome covers. That's one of the great things that, man, those scout guys and artists, man.
They're all jerks.
They're all jerks, taking all the good artists.
Yeah, no, Steak is a really cool comic. My favorite thing about Steak is that's the modern day book that this one is an offshoot of. Mm-hmm. Steak really is a commentary on social media too. Kind of the lead character almost uses an Instagram type thing to build up her profile as she goes out and finds/fights vampires, and then has her like Jessamy character that helps her out. I think that's really cool. But this is the backstory of how Jessamy came to America. I guess it was set in the world of Steak, but 250 years before Angel Steak Beltran Stinson was even born. See Jessamy in action in Steak Presents Jessamy. So I think it's David Byrne's a great dude. If you saw last week's show, let me see where they're at. $14,000, 316 backers. I mean, that's not too bad. Not too bad at all, but definitely a book that's worth it.
Well, and gosh, he's only got 20 days left, so I don't know how much more we can do, right?
Let's get Jeff over 100. And then we'll work at other things. I think it just went up. I think maybe I'm going to take credit for it, even though I'm sure we didn't do it.
We should totally take credit for that. David had nothing to do with it.
No. And then Capable, Jonathan Hendricks, who was also on last week. Mm-hmm. I haven't read this one yet, but the premise is disabled individuals get superpowers that are not exactly the opposite, but are pegged to what their disabilities were. This lead character was in a wheelchair, and when he gets his powers, he gets super speed. So, I've read Jonathan's book, The Recount, and his writing is on point. So I definitely recommend this. Oh, we can try to get Jonathan up to 100 backers as well. So he's
got 2 weeks left, I think, and he's well over halfway to the goal. So he's he's going to be fine. But yeah, we need to get him up there as soon as get him up there fast, right? Make those bucks.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I haven't read anything by him yet, but I think I got all 4 issues of this, so I'm looking forward to catching up on it.
Yeah, it was what, $27 even with shipping to get all 4. So I thought that was really worth it. The recount is good, man. The recount is a political thriller. Basically, you know, it was written before we had the real coup attempt. So thank God the real coup attempt was not led by people with the skills of the people in the recount. Let's just put it that way. I read the first 2 issues, and it's a solid political thriller comic. That's what I'll say.
I'll have to go back and find it. Then I may have been a little bit worn out after the insurrection to do anything political at that point.
Yeah, I need to ask him if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Like, you know, like sometimes things can be too close.
Yeah.
Like what I heard was Falcon and Winter Soldier, they had to reshoot the last, like basically the climax, because the climax was going to be releasing a virus that went around the globe. And they shut down shooting because of COVID. And they decided, no, we're going to have to. So that one got affected more than any other show because they completely changed even the plot of the series.
You know, that was... I've liked every one of them. I haven't seen What If yet, by the way. I need to watch that. That's
okay.
I think that's on tap for this weekend for Stace and I. But I've liked each of the Marvel shows so far. The Disney Plus Marvel shows. But you know, there are things about WandaVision that I think could have been done better, and there are things about Falcon and Winter Soldier, and now that you said that they changed the ending so much, things start to click, and I'm like, okay, I understand why some of it's not working for me. And then, honestly, I feel like Loki has been the strongest. Just from a structural standpoint, each episode feels like an episode, and I thought the payoffs were there. I think it's been the best so far, at least in my mind.
I would put WandaVision and Loki just on equal footing. I thought they were both excellent with really excellent payoffs. I am wondering what season 2 of Loki will give us, because it's such a cliffhanger. We're not gonna. I guess let's not talk about it in case people don't know the cliffhanger. Yeah. Although I would probably say try to watch it before Doctor Strange or Ant-Man come out.
Yeah.
All I can say is I think you might want to watch Loki before that happens.
Yeah, definitely.
But it is left on a cliffhanger as opposed to the really defined ending of WandaVision that hits very hard because it's so defined. But I definitely enjoyed the what the hell is happening of those two each episode. I loved the stunt work in Winter Soldier and Cap. I thought it was great stunt work.
And those two actors work really well together. You know, it's so much fun watching them, you know, on screen. It felt like they took a 6-hour movie. They made a 6-hour movie and said, well, let's chop it here, 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 and here. It didn't have that internal episodic kind of structure that I think I was expecting. And Loki surprised me because I was like, we're getting close to the end here. How are they going to wrap this up? Oh, they're not going to wrap this up.
Yeah. Yeah, Jeff, I totally understand. I jumped when we found out that there was going to be Marvel shows. My family just said, "Well, screw it, we're going to be Disney Plus." And I bought one of those like 3-year things, so it was only like $3 for the first 3 years, but you had to pay all at once because I was like, I mean, it's Marvel. We're in, like I'm going to do it. I have definitely felt like I've gotten my money's worth with Disney Plus as a streaming service. I'm, I wouldn't say that. I mean, you get a lot more with other things, but if you want to be ready for the MCU, I think you may want to get it a month before a movie and do a lot of watching, and then
Or
cut your shit.
if you're a Star Wars fan, I mean, The Mandalorian.
The Mandalorian was a lot of fun. Yeah.
And we went back and watched they have a making of documentary for each episode,
Mm-hmm.
and the technology that they use to create a lot of that stuff. They call it the dome, or maybe they don't call it the dome, but just the the leaps in tech that they've done to create that show it's really cool just to watch them talk about it. Favreau is, I feel like he's probably, already one of the most influential filmmakers ever. And I think his legend is just going to grow.
I don't think he is, but he should be because he doesn't get credit for the MCU, even though the template, the point of view of it is Whedon gets credit for the point of view of the MCU because Avengers was the biggest one first. But that jokey thing that they built in Iron Man, Whedon put into Avengers and did a good job. And, I can't defend Whedon anymore like I used to, but his writing, I will still say, was usually pretty good. But I do think Favreau deserves more credit than he gets for the MCU, unfortunately, because him and Robert Downey Jr. built. Feige deserves it too. I mean, I'm not going to take Feige out of it.
But I mean, the creative decisions that he made, the CGI for Iron Man, you're right, just the tone and the overall look and feel of it. I mean, that Iron Man movie still holds up. It's a really good movie. It's a really, really good movie.
So, you know what? Peter David is a comic writer that I just have known about all my life and never read. I'm just ignorant of his work, and I apologize. Too many people like his stuff. I don't want to take away from him. I just don't. I haven't read it for whatever reason. But
his run on Hulk was really good. It got to a point for me where, after several years, I started seeing, I felt like I'd kind of seen it before, and that was more on me probably than him. But
Stephen King goes in a cycle. He waits 20 years and writes the same novel again. Yeah. So if Stephen King can do a whole novel, I think Peter David can do another comic. I understand, Jeff. That's why we never had Netflix until all of this. Just all of this. Because we've got this DVR full of movies, and I was like, I can't fathom paying, whatever $14 a month it is, when we've got these movies on the DVR that we can't get through. And then gestures around to all of this. We're like, fuck it. So
yeah,
we already had Disney Plus, so we got Netflix, and then we got HBO Max for something. I can't remember what it was that we got HBO Max, but we
don't speak of Game of Thrones anymore. That's why we have HBO Max.
I don't remember. I think it was done, but I think it was Watchmen.
Oh,
I think I got HBO Max because of Watchmen, and that was phenomenal.
Absolutely. Have you? I know we had chatted earlier. I haven't been as impressed with subsequent seasons, but the first season of Westworld is just. It's like this amazing clockwork. It's just so precise and so wonderfully done. I mean, I just love it.
Yeah, whenever I hear that J.J. Abrams is making a TV show, I don't watch it. Because if he doesn't care about subsequent seasons, I don't think I should. So, no, I've luckily missed out on Lost and heard what the writers did to their fans for 3 of the 5 years. I hear 1 and 5 phenomenal. So no, I never went with Westworld. I'll watch J.J. Abrams movies, but not so much as television shows where he's just like, I got a great idea. Ooh, that squirrel has a puffy tail.
Squirrel.
So,
I think if they would have ended it after the first season, I would have been totally fine with it because it just is.
That's why Watchmen was so great, because they did it. They did what they set out to do, and they're done, and it's beautiful and extraordinary. And they're not trying to turn it into 40 more, episodes, which I think is, I think it's a great thing to think about. It's just go into it, and do one amazing year, and go off to something else, as opposed to leaving things dangling to give yourself a chance to do many things. Oh, okay. So Jeff's seen Westworld, so
yeah.
So I need to send you the URL, Jeff. You guys can talk Westworld. I unfortunately, I don't. J.J. Abrams is very, very, very talented. I just have heard too many of his shows go off the rails very quickly.
Or perhaps a couple of his movies.
Ooh, Jeff's calling me out. He doesn't think J.J. Abrams was Westworld.
I'm going to look that up for us right now.
Okay. It'd be really hilarious if he had nothing to do with it, and I've just been bad-mouthing him for 7 minutes on this show in 3 years ever since Westworld came out.
Let's see, IMDb.
Yeah, Damon Lindelof. He took everything he learned on Lost and put it into Watchmen and I actually have read that he said this, that they felt that they had to spin their wheels on Lost a lot. And so when HBO came to him about this, he said, okay, but I'm firing all of my rounds in season 1. Okay. And that's what he did. He just did his show in season 1, and he put his exclamation point on it. And if HBO wants to do another Watchmen, he said, you go ahead. But I'm done. I put every idea I had into that season, and I'm done with it. So,
Westworld is the creators are Lisa Joy and Jonathan Nolan.
Is it Bad Robot?
I'm looking for.
I'm grasping at straws now. I may be wrong. Probably wrong. I've been wrong many times before.
Yeah, it's late in the day. It's been, I'm up to 100 or 200 at this point today.
All right.
I don't see.
Yes.
It may be Bad Robot, but I don't see it on the IMDb listing.
Well, I want to talk about Watchmen. I don't want to talk about Westworld.
Okay.
But I apologize, J.J. Abrams. Okay. Charlie says he thinks, although I may have given him the bad shove here. He thinks Bad Robot did do Westworld, so I don't know. Maybe he didn't.
But it
have
is
so much to
good.
do
He
with
does say, but it is.
It is good. All right. So, all right. When Westworld is completely finished, and you guys who I trust tell me it was all worth it, I will watch it.
I would say watch the first season and consider that the end of it, unless something amazing happens in the subsequent seasons. But just watch the first season and make that the end of your journey, unless you hear from us that it gets much better.
Okay. All right. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. There's a line in the sand. Because I'm too much of I'm a collector by nature, and that includes entertainment. Like, we watched The Suicide Squad last Friday, and I liked it. Oh, I am the smartest man alive. So I liked it. I really did like it, but I didn't love it, but I liked it. And my wife didn't like it. The gore got too much for her, even though it's that cartoony gore. She almost had to leave Machete in the theaters because she was going to vomit.
Oh.
And I was like giddy and laughing. And, you know, I mean, have you seen Machete?
No.
Danny Trejo?
I mean, I've read about it and seen ads for it, but I haven't watched it.
It's so good. It's so good. But there's one thing that I won't ruin for you because it's the greatest thing that's ever been in a film. I mean, it's amazing. And I looked over to be like high-fiving her, and she was like, and I was like, we can leave if you have to. And she's like, no, we can stay. I need to see more Don Johnson, which is why we had to get HBO Max for Watchmen, because my wife's two first loves in this world are Kermit the Frog and Don Johnson. And she still loves both of them just as much. So
that's quite a range, actually.
Damn charismatic men. I'll give them that. Yeah, so that's why we watch Watchmen for Don. So, I don't want to spoil Watchmen, because if I can convince anybody to go on HBO and watch it, I will say, though, Don Johnson is not a character that has 10 episodes of Watchmen. Let's just put it that way. So she was a little disappointed in that, but I was hooked by that point.
But there's
flashbacks.
There's flashbacks, yeah.
So, we don't have the people coming in, or we did Just Me, we did Capable, we did Bug Hunt. Are there any others running? I don't want to forget to mention anybody who's graced us with their presence, but
let's see. We talked Capable, we talked Jessamy, we talked Bug Hunt. That's the only ones that have been on with us. I think at this point I just backed Rage, the Jimmy Palmiotti and Scott Hampton, which I think you're backing too.
Oh, absolutely. I back anything Jimmy does, because he's one of the big time creators who delivers the books, delivers fast. They come nice. The story is worth it. He doesn't kickstart books that Marvel and DC shit canned. He kickstarts books that wouldn't work in those universes. So so they're good. It's not like he's just coming to you with the leftovers. And he charges shipping right there in the campaign.
Totally awesome.
And he's willing to throw a retweet out for little old nobodies like us. So yeah, I'm gonna back Jimmy until there's any reason not to. Tales from the Collective, Danny Morales from the Collective Comic Shop. They're running a Kickstarter. So next Friday, he's probably going to try to make it in.
What book? It's Tales from the Collective? Is that
Tales from the Collective? Yeah.
Okay.
I don't have it up, but we'll talk a lot about it next week, I think, because I think he's going to come in, but he's got a panel at MegaCon tomorrow, so he kind of wanted to do a little workshop in his workshop, and I had to respect that. So Jeff said, I liked how Suicide Squad offs embracing the more ridiculous and obscure characters. Yeah, Polka Dot Man, King Shark were great. Yeah. TDK made me laugh. TDK. Help me out. What's that short for? Jeff, it's late and I haven't had my wine, so I'm not working very good.
TDK. I'm trying to think of the characters.
Yeah. Weasel? TDK is a really weird thing for the Weasel, man. The detachable kid. I think I must have missed him. I can imagine which Suicide Squad he was on. I didn't know who any of those people were, and I kind of like that I didn't know, but unfortunately, a lot of the more obscure things did kind of. I'm a Marvel guy. I know more Marvel than DC by far. So when you get deep into the bench, I'm learning with them. So, the floating arm slapping the soldiers. Yeah, that guy was pretty funny. Don't even remember which one he was.
It's the detachable kid.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, I got a show to do tomorrow, and I need, as you guys can tell, I need beauty sleep. So I'm going to cut it. Will, thank you so much for helping me out. Thank you for Charlie and Jeff for coming in the chat with us and making it go a lot of different ways that I didn't know they were going to come, and that's when it's always the most fun. So,
And the three of us are making a pact that we're going to work on about season 1 of Westworld, right? Okay, good.
tell me it's over and it was great. I won't do the research to know any better. All right. Good night, everybody.
Night.